We start out with call to order. Invocation. Please introduce yourself and your church and get us started. Thank you.
Pastor Riley from the Gulf Shore Church here in Bonita. And before we start, I'd just like to say thank you to the council and everything for continuing to be able to open with invocation, and particularly in these days of counterculture. And I consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to come and to do that, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So Lord, we just come to you tonight and we thank you. We come with praise and thanksgiving for all that you've done for us and all that you continue to do for us. Lord, what a wonderful place you've given us to live. So I thank you for your hand to be upon the council tonight, to guide and direct them, to give them wisdom and understanding. Lord, I thank you for your peace that comes into this place. And I thank you again for the way that you continue to watch over us and protect us. And Lord, I thank you tonight that we can come with an open heart and pray for those people that have been affected by the shooting, for instance, in Highland Park and in Texas, and the things that have been done. So Lord, I thank you that you will continue to have your blessing and your protection upon this town and upon its citizens, and that you will guide and direct everything that goes on here tonight to be according to your will and your way. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Now, in unison, we'll pledge allegiance on 3, 1, 2. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome, y'all. It's a southern drawl for me.
Never would have.
I'm glad to see you all here. It's we the people are the government in this country. We start out, democracy ends at the voting booth. Once you vote, then you hire representatives. So we have seven representatives up here that represent the people. So it's a republic now. So. Okay, I guess we have to have a motion to allow Jesse Purdon on the phone.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, a vote on that, please, Debbie.
Councilwoman Carumba?
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Steinmeier?
Aye.
Councilman Corey?
Aye.
Councilman Gibson?
Aye.
Councilman Forbes?
Aye.
Councilman Purdon?
Aye.
Okay, now we have public comment on the agenda items.
Roll call?
Roll call first.
Roll call.
Oh, we missed the roll call, all righty. Yes.
Councilwoman Carumba?
Present.
Councilman Purdon?
Here.
Councilwoman Carr?
Here.
Mayor Steinmeier?
Here.
Councilman Corey?
Here.
Councilman Gibson?
Here.
Councilman Forbes?
Aye.
Okay, now we go to public comment. Come on, folks, it gives you a chance to talk about what's on the agenda. Okay, that's it, final word.
Mr. Mayor, I know somebody wanted to do it. She forgot.
You're out of order. Thank you.
Thank you for telling me I'm out of order. This lady,
Number 8.
Mayor, I signed up to comment, does that mean I'm new?
Wait.
Oh, when do I comment?
Come to the microphone or so, I can't hear you, and you're out of order.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to be out.
Go to the microphone.
We had public comment, you didn't hear me?
Oh, yeah,
Madam-
I did. This is the first time I've been here. I'm sorry.
what item are you here for?
I came because I saw an article about the Madison,
Is it on the agenda, ma'am?
yeah, it's this first reading of the public hearing
Okay, ma'am, there'll be an opportunity to speak at.
after that. Oh, thank you very much. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. 8A, first
Okay.
reading.
This is a zoning ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs, Florida, considering a request to rezone 20.99 plus or minus acres from commercial plan development CPD to commercial plan development residential Plan Development, CPD/RPD, to allow a maximum of 252 multifamily dwelling units, including bonus density units, and up to 10,000 square feet of commercial use at the northeast intersection of Bonita Beach Road and I-75, Bonita Springs, Florida, 34135, providing for an effective date.
Good evening, Council. Mary Zizzo for the record. We do have presentations prepared for the following meeting, the adoption hearing, which will be on August 3rd. If you have any preliminary questions, I'd be happy to answer those now, but this is ultimately a time for public hearing as well.
So, Mayor, unless there's any questions from the council, or there may be questions after the young lady comes up to speak, but if she would like to come up now would be the time for her to make her comments and questions. Yeah, yes. You didn't have to wait long.
Yeah, I saw that article, and my concern was not about the property, or I'm not knowledgeable about the logistics of civil engineering or anything. My concern is that I'd like to bring the thought back on the table to land development in Florida for recycling, and thank you, Mr. Forbes, for telling me blighted property, which means that it's already vacant, dilapidated buildings, like strip malls and stuff, to utilize that property more than cutting into properties that are, and again, Mr. Forbes, Fred, help me, I was calling it virgin land, but it's not. It is, what kind of land did you tell me? Well, anyway, it's, maybe somebody else knows, I don't know, I guess they can't talk. But anyway, it's the land that's already been developed with drainage pipes and things like that. And it's available and by law zoned so that they can develop it for apartment building, dwellings and stuff like that. Now, my concern is in local neighborhoods, as I live in Bonita Springs, local neighborhoods, they're worried about bears, they're worried about panthers, they're worried about bobcats. Well, that's just animals that have been displaced. So if we could use the already properties and encourage developers to do this, even New York City, they, I don't like bringing ideas from New York City, but they do vertical demolition, they construct right on the same spot, and the developers still make money. Why can't the developers start using their ingenuity and their creativity to stop cutting down, burning? I lived in Venice, Florida, burning every day when you would go outside. And just shut me up when I talk too much. Then they, I lived in St. Petersburg. A flash rainstorm like today, cars were stuck. They didn't have good planning. So I moved to back, I lived in Estero, and I had to go to these other places because of my husband's work, but I'm back in Bonita, and I don't want Bonita to end up. I would just like to bring back recycling into the conversation, conservation back to the conversation. And that's what I have to talk about that land.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
Oh, thank you for putting up with me on that.
Yes, I'd like to make one comment that Lee County was picked as the best recycling county in the state of Florida again, the 6th time in the last 20 years, or last 10 years. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more questions for staff or the applicant,
Motion to move to second reading.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Purdon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr,
Aye.
Mayor Steinmeier,
Aye.
Councilman Corey,
Aye.
Councilman Gibson,
Aye.
Councilman Forbes,
Aye.
Councilwoman Carumba.
Aye.
Okay. we got presentation of Jack Brown, from the Tree Advisory Board.
I'm Jack Brown. I'm chairman of the Tree Advisory Board. We created something called the Tree of the Season Award to raise awareness while promoting healthy tree practices. So we're going to recognize a citizen. This is our first award. Mayor Steinmeier has the sign that we've come up with, and so I'll present this first award. It goes to Mr. Mike Kirby. Please accept this award. Some of you might know him as well. I believe they're going to put a picture of the tree up on the screen in a minute here. But in any case, it's a 25-foot tall paradise tree. It's a native subtropical. It's about 7 years old. It exemplifies right tree, right place. It's a good distance from the home while shading it. Provides shelter for the birds. Bees pollinate it. It produces fruit for animals to eat, and it's quite a nice specimen. So if we give it maybe another second. But in any case, thank you, Mike. It's a wonderful tree. And in any case, this sign is something that you're welcome to put in your yard if you like. You don't have to, obviously, but that's the big idea. So thank you. All right, perfect. Okay.
We don't have the photo.
I don't
Okay.
have received the picture.
All right.
Sure. Sorry about that, sir.
Okay.
Mayor, I want to ask him a question, whoever that was.
Mike.
No.
Jack Brown.
Jack Brown.
Yeah, well.
Isn't he right there?
I know, but we have a leader here. I'd like to just ask Jack a question, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jack, could you come up?
Thank you.
We got a question that needs to be answered.
Well, I'm sorry, this is the first time I heard of, this is a delightful idea. I'm very much in favor, but could you just explain exactly how you get the award, how people could submit their photos, and
yeah.
is this once a year, or how do you do it?
Well, we're calling it Tree of the Season because we figured 4 was about the right number.
Oh, so each season there'll be a different tree?
Yeah, that's the big idea, and thanks for bringing it up because we don't really know how to promote it. We want to try to utilize whatever form of communication we can, but the idea is that anyone can nominate someone for the award, and then it goes in front of the Tree Advisory Board, and that's where we kind of look at it. And so far, we've had exactly 2 nominations, and one of them is the
No,
winner
he's
so
a
far.
great winner. It's just that I didn't even know anything about it, so I would like to promote it to my district. And, maybe we could get some action on our website. We've talked to Laura. I don't know if you've already done that, but that's why I asked you to come back and explain it to anybody that might be watching, because it's a great idea, and thank you for thinking of it. I hope that the city can help you to promote it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. All right.
Okay, now we have the auditor.
Lisa.
There we go. Lisa.
Good evening. Yes, tonight we have Tony Smith. He's a partner with our CPA firm that does our audit, Ashley Brown and Smith. He came in tonight, so y'all, please give him your attention.
Hi, good evening. Again, my name is Tony Smith. I'm a partner with Ashley Brown Smith CPAs, your current auditor. Can you hear me okay? Sorry. For 2021, not only do we do a financial statement audit, however, in addition to that, since your federal grant expenditures were over the threshold of $750,000, we also conducted a federal single audit as well. Does everybody have a copy of the financials? Okay, great. Let me start with page 2. Page 2, this is our opinion. You're welcome to read through the whole thing and ask as many questions as you'd like. But I'm going to read the opinion at the bottom paragraph. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the city as of September 30, 2021. Additionally, if you flip back to page 94, and I'm just going to go over the opinions real quick. Back on page 94 is this covers your single audit, the federal single audit. And again, at the bottom of this page, the bottom paragraph, in our opinion, the city complied with all material respects with the types of compliance requirements referred to above that could have a direct and material effect on its major federal program for the year ended September 30, 2021. So, go ahead, sir. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So on page 96, we had selected a federal grant, the federal grant, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the non-point source implementation grant. This grant was tested as the major fund that was referred to on page 94. Anybody have any questions? I go too fast.
How much more do you have? Is that,
I'm happy to answer any questions.
okay, how long have your firm been auditing the city of Bonita Springs?
For as long as I've been with the firm, sir, I've been with the firm since 2010, so it's been at least that long. It's changed. It was originally Ashley and Brown CPAs, and then it became Ashley Brown and Company, and now it's Ashley Brown and Smith.
Okay, you haven't made the presentation every time, have you?
No, sir. Usually it's my senior partner, Jeff Brown. Before that, it's been Don Ashley.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Well, we certainly have a professional financial secretary, and she does a wonderful job, and thank you.
She does do it.
Yes, Amy, yes.
Laura. Thank you. I also want to note that we have an award of excellence, which the whole team, thank you, Lisa, and the team for achieving the award of excellence. And you might have mentioned that.
Yes, I apologize. I do want to add that an audit takes a long time, so this isn't something that just happens in a day or two. It starts with planning early on in the season. We do interim testing usually during the summer, which will actually begin soon for the up and coming year. And then during season, we are here on site for 2 weeks. In addition to the amount of time that we're here in face, double that is what we do back at the office. So we're probably at 45 days worth of work to complete the financial statement audit. So it's what helps with that, makes us more efficient, makes the city more efficient, is your staff. So Lisa, and prior to that, Brenda, everybody within your staff and financial statement staff is really great and has made our job really easy. So
Well, it's quite a job, 108 pages. It wasn't done overnight.
It definitely was not, sir. And to that, some of our audit clients, we prepare the financial statements, but here at your city, you've got Lisa that is well poised, and she actually is the one that prepared the financial statements, and we audit them.
Very good. Any other questions? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, consent agenda. A motion to approve.
Motion to,
I'd like to pull E, and afterwards I want to comment on A and D.
Okay, go ahead with your comments on E.
Well, we can vote. We can
Sorry, who
vote.
made the motion to move the balance?
let's go,
I made a motion to move. Amy to-
Second, but I want to pull E.
that's right. You want to pull,
So-
let's discuss it right now.
Okay, I just want to have somebody tell me a little bit more about it because I'm not familiar with the process. I think this is only the second time that anything has come forward to us from form-based code, and I don't understand this ratification of the draft administrative action. That's not typical process, so I don't get what's going on.
Good evening, Council. Mike Fegon with Community Development. For the record, you're correct. It is not a typical process. Because the form-based code has so many moving parts, there is an opportunity for property owners within the downtown district to go through a final plan approval process, if you will, to get comfortable that they're heading down the right path before they start spending a ton on final engineering, final design, final building plans, so on and so forth. And for this particular piece of property, it was a completely voluntary process that they elected to go through to sort of gauge this approval before they started going too far down the rabbit hole, so to speak. And the way it's written in the code is that anytime somebody elects to go through this particular process, even though it's an administrative approval by staff, it still comes to City Council for review. More as an FYI to let you know what's going on. When you read that code section, it tends to be geared towards larger projects happening downtown, more acreage, more density, things like that, but there's no limit. So in this case, it's a very small project overall, sort of on the outskirts of the downtown district, and they are voluntarily elected to go through this process before finalizing their plans.
Now, normally, if they didn't do this, you could just do this administratively?
Yes.
All right, so, okay, so they're just seeing what our feelings are about it. I get it.
Mike, to clarify, they're entitled to everything already within the
Right,
code.
so-
Oh, yes, it's already been reviewed for compliance with the transect that they're in. There are no issues, so it's like I said, it's more of an FYI than anything in this
Well,
case.
I don't have any problem with the project. I just thought this was really bizarre. And if you could spend maybe 2-3 minutes explaining how the form-based code would lead you to this, because it's different from what we've done in the past. I know accessory units are in that transect and all that stuff. Maybe 2 or 3 sentences so that people who are watching understand that this is a new process that we're going to apply to the downtown area and why it seems to be working.
Sure. So the big push with downtown, especially in the residential areas, obviously, is to increase the density, simply because you need the additional bodies downtown if you're going to have a thriving commercial sector. So there's a big push in the code to allow for additional density, so to speak, and to also allow for what we call accessory residential units, which is where you have a piece of property with a main structure on it, and you can also have a little accessory apartment or accessory dwelling behind it. And this is an example of how that works in this particular transect zone. They're allowed a mix of housing unit types throughout all of the transects, and actually this particular property owner owns the property next door as well, so they're going to do something a little bit different to sort of provide that variety of housing types that we're looking for in the form-based code. But in this particular case, they were looking to exercise their right in the code for 2 family attached or duplex style units, and provide some additional accessory units as well. It is a corner lot within the city, so one of the good things that this project is going to provide is additional sidewalk connectivity around a portion of Wilson Avenue that doesn't exist currently. So that is something they're going to be proposing and doing, and it's about orienting the buildings towards the frontage lots and creating that nice streetscape as you go through the downtown. So this is an example of a smaller project achieving that end.
Thank you very much, and
Okay, I make a
I'll move that issue if you want me to, and join it with the others.
I'd like to move, approve everything on the consent agenda. Have a second on that?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Steinmeier?
Aye.
Councilman Corey?
Aye.
Councilman Gibson?
Aye.
Councilman Forbes?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crumba?
Aye.
Councilman Purdon?
Aye.
Amy, you had something else?
I just wanted to say a quick comment on A, where we're going to be doing some work on the quadrant plan, so it's really nice that we're having some progress there. And thank you for Matt and the rest of the council and the staff for working so hard to get us to this point. I know this is a small step, but even one small step is better than what we've been. And similarly, on D, I'm glad to see that we have the contract going for the improvements to the roundabout, which definitely needs it, since I've been spending a lot of time going around that circle, and hopefully it'll improve the safety thing. So again, thank you for those projects. It is nice to see it on the consent agenda.
Okay, 11, we don't have any items. 12, first reading. You got that one, Derek?
Yep, first reading of an ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs, Florida, approving the petition of Bonita Springs Utilities Incorporated to increase its water, aid to new construction fees, and certain miscellaneous service charges, and providing for an effective date. This is just a first reading.
Motion to move to second reading.
Second.
Okay. Any other comment? Roll call, please.
Mayor Steinmeier?
Aye.
Councilman Corey?
Aye.
Councilman Gibson?
Aye.
Councilman Forbes?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crumba?
Aye.
Councilman Purdon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, next item is another first reading. This is of an ordinance of the Bonita Springs, an ordinance amending the Bonita Springs Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Flood Hazard Reduction, to clarify and update definitions and regulations as necessary to remain in the National Flood Insurance Program, providing for conflicts of law, severability, codification, scrivener's errors, and an effective date. Mayor and council, there'll be a presentation on this at second reading, but this is essentially to maintain the reduction, the insurance reductions in the National Flood Improvement Program.
It's a good thing.
Motion to move to second.
Second.
Roll
And
call,
I
please.
did have one question on there, though, with the accessory structures. Does it only apply to the non-elevated accessory structures being limited to 1,200 square feet?
Yes, sir.
Like, if they were elevated, they could be bigger than that?
Absolutely, sir. Aida Williams, you're the city's floodplain manager and one of your structural building inspectors. FEMA's guideline document that came down to that was for V-zone properties, those structures that do not meet the elevation requirements of the Florida Building Code will be limited to 100 square feet. So you can't have a very large shed setting in a velocity zone. For A-zone in our inland properties, it's 600 square feet. If you don't meet the elevation requirements of the Florida Building Code, they can get up to 1,200 feet by an administrative variance.
Okay, so most of them need to be smaller, but they can go as high as 1,200.
Correct, but if they're meeting the elevation requirements, or if it's for instance, a two-story, and that's one of our more popular designs that we review, is a detached garage with an accessory unit above it, that would be exempt from that set of regulations because it's already being designed to meet the intent of the Florida Building Code.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Throughout, it says if it's not, like, for example, on, I don't know, what is it, page 2 of 4, if it doesn't fit the most restrictive requirements shall apply. Why isn't it the safest, the most common sense? You know, I mean, why is it throughout the whole thing the most restrictive and the governing body, which fluctuates?
It does. And that language actually comes from the state's emergency management office, which oversees all of our floodplain ordinances for legality. So in that case, if for instance, on Hickory Boulevard, when we have a DEP permit involved, their elevation requirements are traditionally about 1.2 to 3, upwards of 3 feet higher than the highest regulatory standard of the Florida Building Code, which is also higher than FEMA's. So we're always reviewing all of those moving pieces to make sure that we're picking the highest standard possible for safety.
Great. Okay, thank you.
And this is to save us insurance money?
It is. So, well, it's a two-part process. Part one, we must enforce the regulations in place under the Code of Federal Regulations, Chapter 44 in the Florida Building Code. By us documenting each step throughout the permitting process, we subject ourselves to an audit, which we complete every 3 years. So yes, we have to follow the rules in place, but secondly, because we do we do a due diligence on those process, we have a community rating of 5 through through FEMA CRS program. Every step that we achieve is an additional discount for our residents located in the flood zones that have a FEMA-backed flood insurance policy. So at this time, our residents are receiving upwards of a 25% discount when they're located in the 100-year flood zone. The last numbers that we ran from 2020 that was released, that was almost $2 million per year in savings for our residents.
Very good. Is that 13A? Am I working on that?
That's 13A, and you have a motion and a second.
I'll motion.
Oh, you already have one.
Okay, good. All right, so.
Councilman Corey?
Aye.
Councilman Gibson?
Aye.
Councilman Forbes?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crumba?
Aye.
Councilman Purdon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Steinmeier?
Aye.
Okay, the next item is related. It's a first reading of an ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs relating to building and construction codes, amending Chapter 10 building codes and standards, adopting local technical amendments to the Florida Building Code, adding definitions for determination of repetitive loss, coastal A zone, substantial damage, and substantial improvement, providing for conflict of law, severability, codification, scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Motion to move
Oops.
second reading.
Second.
Councilman,
Any other comment?
Councilman Gibson?
Aye.
Councilman Forbes?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crumba?
Aye.
Councilman Purdon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Steinmeier?
Aye.
Councilman Corey?
Aye.
Hey, another one, Mr.
I'm not used to so much attention, sorry. Next item is, I'm requesting that council authorize the mayor to execute essentially what amounts to an escrow agreement with BG Mine. As you recall, as the terms of the settlement of that lawsuit, the city is entitled to a piece of property at the end of Bonita Grand Road. That piece of property is intended to become a regional park. We have a provision in that agreement that requires that the developer pay for any additional access obligations that are necessary to make sure that the access that currently exists along that route is open to the public. So what we are asking for is an interim escrow agreement. This will fund a route study, which will allow us to proceed with condemnation if necessary, or any other determinations to make sure that that access for the public will be provided.
This is just to secure the title.
This, ultimately, that is to secure public access. So the obligations of the developer in this case is to pay for everything. That means the consultants, that means, any purchases or anything else. So what we're doing is asking, before we put our teams on working on this, that they fund that program. We'll draw down against that with our consultants that Public Works already has.
Very
Motion
good.
approved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other comment?
Mike and Chris.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Forbes?
Aye.
Councilwoman Crumba?
Aye.
Councilman Purdon?
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr?
Aye.
Mayor Steinmeier?
Aye.
Councilman Corey?
Aye.
Councilman Gibson?
Aye.
And before I let you go, I just have two little items I'm going to let you know that we're bringing back. The first is we're going to be bringing back some amendments to the home occupation code. As you're aware, especially with COVID, the state has changed the regulations regarding what we cannot restrict with respect to home occupations, so people operating businesses out of their house. So we're going to bring some changes back to make sure that our code lines up with the state law. The second item, I am looking for a little bit of direction on this, and this is the personal watercraft vehicle license. So we currently have a license requirement and registration and rules relating to the operation of personal watercraft rentals within the city. Primarily, this would be powered vehicles like jet skis operating either off the beach or off our boat ramps. We currently only have one license holder, and the majority of operations actually occur through area-wide vendors who utilize our boat ramps. So they make arrangements to drop the jet skis off for people to use them. I think the intent when we had some recent requests for people to look at licenses, looking back at the intent of that regulation, it appears to be similar to the regulations that the county had and Fort Myers Beach had with respect to operations out of the beach. So someone actually setting up shop at either our boat ramp or the beachfront and licensing rentals from that purposes. What I'd like to do is I'd like to bring that back and revise that and remove the license requirement and just prohibit the operation of a business from the public land. So you'll be able to make arrangements with a vendor to have personal watercraft dropped off, but they won't be setting up shop necessarily on public property.
I agree with that.
Derek,
We have to,
is this in response to the guy who was tying off the mangroves and putting up the
No.
signs and
No.
stuff?
No.
No, okay. This is different. Okay,
This
gotcha.
is a separate issue, and it's also come to our attention that there are boat ramps that are not under the control of the city of Bonita Springs. They're from other entities, and the situation is occurring at those as well. But because they are in the city of Bonita Springs, they fall under our ordinance. So this could be a conflict with a Lee County boat ramp or any other.
Yeah, there simply doesn't seem to be a nexus any longer between the way these operators utilize. Previously, they may have been vendors who operated out of a facility but now everything's made prearranged visits, and so they're not actually camped out at the boat ramps operating. So it'll make more sense when we bring it back. We've just had a couple of people who don't fit the mold, but want to operate properly, and we're trying to line our regulations up with the Lee County and everywhere else.
very good.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Do you need a vote on that?
No, I'll bring it back for future consideration.
Okay, very good. Tree Advisory Board. We did that. No, we didn't.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Sean will be coming forward, and this is an update for you. There was a presentation by the Tree Advisory Board members that staff brought forward with some recommendations to some potential changes, land development code. At that time, council asked staff to go back and get some feedback from the local community and consultants, and Sean's here to report on that now.
Okay, Sean, thank you.
How are we doing, everybody? Thank you for having me back. As Mr. Early had mentioned, we're just giving an update. We did outreach to our development community as well as landscape professionals. That includes landscape architects, professional engineers, certified arborists, landscape professionals, master gardeners, as well as our contacts at the University of Florida IFAS, Department of Agricultural Science, to kind of get some updates and their feedback on our proposed changes. With the exception of a couple engineers that had concerns about landscape island sizes, it was pretty much all very positive feedback. Most of the changes we are making are relatively low-key, non-majorly impactful in terms of codification of different regulations. They seem to kind of be trending with other municipalities and different requirements in kind of enhanced corridors, landscaping, visibility issues. So we received very positive feedback. We feel very confident and comfortable moving forward with this. But we are seeking your kind of final blessing to approach LPA with code changes. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have, provide any clarifications, but I'm just here looking for a nod of support, and we'll get to moving on the code changes. Thank you so much.
I make a motion we approve.
Then we just have to give direction, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, just direction.
Yeah.
And it looks,
Mayor, I just want to thank you for reaching out to people who would have to use the code, and I feel comfortable with the suggestions of the 10, and I'm in favor of drafting something official with the land development code.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
okay, so you'll come back with,
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll take it to LPA, similar like a zoning board or an LPA meeting for you'd have for like a land use change or a code change. They'll give their approval recommendations, and we'll officially present it to you guys for final approval and then
it
codification.
looks like it's gonna make Bonita even prettier, yes.
That's our hope.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm not so keen on the parking going from 10 feet to 15 feet. Parking spots roughly 10 feet wide. I think that's plenty wide enough for an island myself, but I don't know what everybody else's opinion is, but I don't see a reason to go to 15 feet either.
So it wouldn't be for all landscape islands, it'd only be for ones that have to contain canopy trees. So when you're looking at a parking area, a certain percentage of that have to be terminal islands, a certain percentage of that have to be landscape areas, and of that, a certain amount to be canopy trees. So it'd only be ones that you have to have a canopy tree in. That's actually when we get a lot of positive support back from our landscape managers and certified arborists. The idea being when you have to put in that canopy tree in a parking area, you're giving it the right size of growth space so you're not tearing it out later on. But I absolutely understand where you're coming from, yes, sir. That was very similar to what we heard from the engineers was, are we going to lose space for parking? And the idea would be there's a deviation process to go about that, and this is going to be mostly for new sites, not necessarily upgrading old sites. So again, if you exist with any current modification or current permit area, you bring it into compliance as best you can. Doesn't have to necessarily cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So there's flexibility built in.
And not all the islands will be 15 feet.
Correct, yes, sir. Yeah, only ones that have canopy trees. Correct, yes, sir.
They have something to prevent the roots from going under?
Yes, actually, that was one of the ones we
Explain
were.
what that is?
Yeah, so we're actually requiring root barrier installation now, which the code does not currently require. And you can think of a root barrier as a biological or mechanical barrier to prevent root intrusion from utility lines, power lines, for example, if they're underground, footers, driveway areas. The current code does not require that. We always recommend it to our new developers and communities, but this will actually require that to be installed if it's within 10 feet of a utility area, sidewalk, driveway, where there might be any kind of an issue to prevent.
How deep does that go, or how does that work?
It would depend on the planting situation, so it could be anywhere from 18 inches to 3 feet, depending on what you're installing. Palms and shrubs would be different from a tree, for example, so it would depend on what the industry practice would recommend.
Keep from cracking the sidewalk.
Exactly, again, if you can right train those roots to kind of drop down and go out, as opposed to kind of bubbling up on the surface area, you can kind of get that tree to adapt appropriately at the time of planting, as opposed to having to retrofit it or correct it, which that's when things become a bit challenging.
That's good, sounds good.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the ordinance, yes.
I think you had a motion.
Yeah,
Or just direction, right?
direction, yes, please. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Great job, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and Council, the only item that I needed to address this evening is to remind everyone that July 20th meeting was moved to 5:30 PM, and that is our budget workshop. And I do know that Councilman Gibson will be participating virtually for that one.
Okay, anything else?
Just a thank you to our staff and all of our community partners for our 4th of July event. So,
That was fabulous, fabulous, best ever. It's better than Bonita, I tell you. Okay, mayor and council reports. Fred, you got anything to report?
I do. First of all, parade was great. We, next year, hopefully we'll have more candy. Hopefully next year we may get more back to the head of the procession where we belong. Music was great. Want to make a comment that we're going to miss the efforts of John Pano, who passed away recently. The other thing I want to say is Laura and I had the experience of attending the funeral service for Frank Mann. I can say everybody I've talked to that's been there said that was the most unusual, most interesting, and probably if a thing can be a great thing as a funeral, that was it, because it was just unusual. He actually participated because he recorded video snippets that were shown during the service itself. And there were like probably 12 to 13 rounds of applause during the service. And I've never seen anybody clap at a funeral. But there was a lot of tearjerk. A lot of tears were flowing profusely. Last thing I want to do is point out that the Estero Chamber of Commerce made several big awards, and the Outstanding Woman of the Year business lady, we should be honored that we have her in our community, was Trish Leonard. I asked her I've got copies of the article that talks about it that we can pass around to City Council. And I think she brought her statue with her when she got her award. Do you have it with you, Trish? Oh, okay. Well, you can bring that next time. But we're really happy to have you a member of the business community. And she does a great job running the downtown business plans, too.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trish.
Yep.
Thank you. Mike, you got anything tonight?
Congratulations, Trish, and just wanted to thank city staff for a great job on the 4th of July.
We had that we have meetings at Downtown Business Alliance, usually has it at the Shangri-La.
Yes.
Can you come forward, please, Trish? Explain what you're doing, how many members you got, you're making progress in downtown, I know that.
Thank you. Okay, well, for the record, Trish Leonard. I'm a resident of Bonita Springs, a business owner of Bonita Springs, as well as the president of the Downtown Alliance. And I came tonight just to, for a few things. One, to say thank you to the staff for a beautiful fireworks display and a parade with the fire department. It was really awesome. But also to also recognize John Pano, who founded the downtown, the Bonita Springs Downtown Alliance 8 years ago. I took on a president 2 years, and they just re-elected me for a third year. But we started, we had about 22 business owners in the downtown district, and we're up to about 85 right now. And our goal for next year is to bring in more Hispanic business owners and to produce our marketing materials in both English and in Spanish and some Creole, because we really believe that we're missing a point in an area for that center. And hopefully we'll be able to do that. But we meet the fourth Tuesday of every month at the Shangri-La, in exception to July and December. But we have speakers, and you're welcome to attend. If you're a business owner, it's $50 a year. We have a Facebook page, an e-newsletter called the Downtown Talk, as well as a website. So always looking for recommendations, and I want to say thank you to all the council that have attended the meetings, because it really means a lot to the residents. A lot of times they cannot get to these meetings, and when they see you there, they know you care about everything. And I know that, you know, as far as the staff and everyone else that we've had there, they want more of that coming down.
And the food's great.
The food's wonderful. They do a great job. So we'll see you back in August. And September 27th, we will be having a candidates forum for the new folks and for the folks that are going to be up for council. So that more of that will be coming. But thank you to Arlene and to her staff, who do a great job for our community.
Thank you, Trish. Okay, Amy, you want to follow up?
I attended the Horizon Council General Membership meeting, and as usual, it was interesting. And I also attended the Downtown Alliance meeting, where we had our librarian from our library right down here, and that discussion was kind of informative, and it was nice to see a person that's associated with it. And he did, one of the things he mentioned, first of all, he's a gentleman instead of a woman, and all the librarians I've ever known was always been a woman, so it was nice to see a gentleman in that position. That they are going to put some kind of a shade covering over, there's like a little grassy area outside of the library, so that people could come and have reading events there. So, and they have a lot of things going on for adults and children, so I think we had to laugh because most of us didn't know anything about it, but we all had a library card, so that was good. So we didn't get too many demerits there, but that was a really good presentation. And I too want to thank everybody that was involved with the 4th of July. I have family visiting from Denver and New York City, and we spent 4th of July from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night being involved with all the activities. So we did the band, we did the parade, we threw out the candy. We went up, threw out the balls, and we looked at the fireworks. So it was a great experience for those that were visiting, and it was magnificent to see so many people out there. I could hardly walk from one place to another. So it was very successful, and it was something that I think the community and our state really needed, to be out there celebrating the great gift we have in our country and in our city. So thank you for everybody that came, and it was a time of sadness, but yet we were glad that we did it. Thank you.
Okay, Laura, do you have anything to add tonight?
Well, it almost sounds like I'm just following Amy around.
You are. It's just that I talk first.
Yeah. The Horizon meeting was great, and Don Scott did a fabulous job doing a summary of what's happening on our roads. Commissioner Mann's funeral was interesting, moving, and unique. And I already heard people saying as they were leaving, I'm getting my videos together. So he might have started a new trend. And the parade was so much fun. and seeing all the kids dressed red, white, and blue, matching outfits. It was beautiful, wonderful, and it was fun getting shot with all the water. And the evening was fabulous. The Ben Allen Band was terrific. They rocked and rolled all night, and the fireworks were fabulous. Carissa did a great job on her first time, along with staff. Addison was there helping out, and all the little kids. So it was so wonderful. And congratulations, Trish. You deserve it. And thank you, Miss Mayor.
Okay, Chris?
I'm good.
You're good, okay. Well,
I think I've got one, Mr. Mayor.
what?
It's Jesse.
Jesse's.
Oh, yeah, Jesse, I almost forgot, I could hardly see you. Yes, Jesse, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem at all. I wanted to echo some of the council folks who came before me and recognize, a good friend, not only to myself, but to our city, in John Pano, to the paddle boarders, the iguanas, the historians, the movie critics, and all the people who love the Imperial. We know that John Pano will sorely be missed, and I just wanted you all to know I've started talking to staff already, and I'll come back with you. I would like to try to figure out a way that we can properly recognize his contributions to our city. I don't have anything specific in mind yet, but just know, I've been thinking about it, and the talks have started. But I really wish I could have been with you all on the 4th of July. I mean, that's my favorite holiday. So to miss 4th of July in downtown Bonita Springs for me is something rough. But, I care about you all, and I care about the city, and I just knew I needed to stay home. But I look forward to being back with you all in a couple weeks. And thank you for everything that you all did this week, and staff. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Jesse, and get well. Take care and get well. We miss you, buddy. Okay, I guess I'm down to me now. I want to thank Laura for her dancing, for the music. She put on a show for, an hour and a half or something. She was good, very good. And I've never seen so many people in Bonita, ever. And it's just so friendly, and everybody was happy. And the freedom we have in this country, it comes from God, but we have to keep it. We have to keep an eye on it, or somebody will take it away. So, thanks again. We're going to try and get approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve both sets.
Second.
Both of them?
Yes. Second.
All in favor?
Councilwoman Crumba.
Aye.
Councilman Purdon.
Aye.
Councilwoman Carr.
Aye.
Mayor Steinmeier.
Aye.
Councilman Corey.
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Okay, public comment. I was going to say, Alex, you were there all night. You didn't say nothing. You're late. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Hey, Alex Grant.
Yeah, okay, and actually, two points I like to make that are sort of connected. Number one, as a member of the Historic Preservation Board, I was invited by Community Development to look at the, the restaurant building portion of Everglades Wonder Gardens. And yes, there are some termites, drywood termites there, as you know, I'm a certified pest control operator. And, but I feel upon my looking at that building that it's generally in pretty decent shape. I don't think it's going to cost a heck of a lot of money to get that building in shape. Of course, I'm not into construction, but as far as the termites are concerned, that could be taken care of for few $1,000s, not more than that, and they'd probably be able to drill to take care of them. So, and that would not be costly. Number two, I noticed that in the paper that Everglades Wonder Gardens is going to have a new director, and he seems to be very knowledgeable. His name Neil Anderson, and I think he's going to take over next month. And I would recommend to the city council that any decisions on trying to demolish or do anything with that building be delayed until you get his opinion on that building. Also, I feel that related to this, that there needs to be a more of an expansion of Everglades Wonder Gardens. It's really a historic, you don't find these things very many in the country anymore. And it's very unique to this area, and that should be preserved in its entirety. And if they need extra land, we have that Bamboo Village property, which I gave you last year sometime. Each of you had a copy of this, considering the soils and the 3 underground rivers along the Imperial River there in that vicinity, and the floodway maps, hydric soil, et cetera, et cetera. It's a 38-page packet that I received from the Florida State Soil Scientist office in Gainesville, Florida, at the university. And this should be taken into account. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Anybody else? Public comment? Come on now. Don't be shy. That's it. I guess we're adjourned.
Record.